Come to me, my children. Follow the sound of my voice to receive thy blessings. Unburden yourself.
Ow! 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 Ow!
And welcome to the Church of Last Resort with the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll. The Church of Last Resort, where your prayers are heard, your sins forgiven, and no matter what you believe, you won't believe this shit. And now, the Irreverent Reverend, the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Today is March 23rd. It's a great Sunday, at least where I am. We're having wonderful weather today, and I hope you're having the same where you are. It is a beautiful, beautiful 34 degrees. Now, I say 34 degrees because I like to work outside in the yard. And when it's 34 degrees and you're outside in the yard working, the bees and snakes, they move like this. And you have time to find a snake or a nest of bees that you can carefully, and discreetly slip away or pick them up and move them. Because when they're that sleepy, they don't bite and they don't sting. In theory, don't try this at home, only in my yard. Don't try this in your yard. If you want to try gardening at 35 degrees, do it in my yard because I know how it works here. I don't know how it works in your yard. I haven't been to your yard. So, good morning, brothers and sisters. And this includes our new members who may be joining us for the first time, wherever you are, wherever you may be, and wherever you want to be, because you may not be where you want to be. There you are. Welcome to the Church of Last Resort. I am the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll, PhD, DDS, ADHD, MCM, LIX, or, as I've been called many, many times, the racy Reverend, the perfect pastor, the vile vulgar vicar of vice, the sexy shepherd, the missionary man, the minister of mischief, the wicked witness, the dirty deacon, the doggy style, the frisky fry, the ass man abbot, the booty banging brother, the handsy high priest, Father Fistmas, the holy holder, divine dominating dominator, the depraved preacher, the minister of making love, the clergy of cutting conversation. Sorry. I'd have made it if I didn't have to correct those two lines. The clergy of cunning conversation while eating pussy and that nasty N-word. The point is that I come by many names and by many methods, but I do not come easy. Amen, amen, amen. So let us begin, as always, in the name of George Collin, Robin Williams, and Richard Pryor. Can I get a fuck yeah, y'all? Fuck yeah! That's right, I'm talking about. That's right. Got the fuck yeah chorus sitting over there in the corner, and in that corner, and right there behind you, right behind you. You're right there, and the rest of the fuck yeah chorus is right there behind you. Do like this, but don't blink, you'll miss them. Go like this, and you'll see them right there, because that's where I keep them, right behind you. Hey, fuck yeah chorus. So, children, and I do call you my children, because just like my real children, you're not getting a dime from me. Not while I'm living, not while I'm dead. So, children, it is time for our opening prayers. If you or someone you know is in need of a prayer by the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll, please send your request for a prayer or healing, forgiveness, or any such bullshit and requests to me at Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll, Dr. That's DrRevjellyRolle at gmail.com. And please remember to spell roll with an E on the end. Otherwise, that other Jelly Roll, not me, will wind up with your request, and you do not want that man near your blessings. Now, people say, and I'm saying, because people ask me all the time when they see me in the street, they say, Reverend, I don't watch your show, but I understand that you always read your email, but it seems like most of the email you get is spam or people trying to sell you shit. So why are you asking people to send prayers to that nut thing and nobody's sending prayers? And the truth is, if people are sending me emails requesting money, they don't have a prayer of getting it. So you're right, it is counterproductive. They should be sending me prayers, not doing something where they don't have a prayer. But who am I? I'm just a simple servant, emphasis on simple, and not so much emphasis on servant of the Lord. Uh, Now for our disclaimer, if that wasn't disclaiming enough. While all prayers are heard, not all prayers are answered when we want them to be. Some loopholes and restrictions may definitely, almost certainly apply. So please bow your head unless you're driving your car or your significant other. And if that is the case, just close your eyes and let Jesus do the driving for a while. Now, if you do not feel comfortable or safe, either bowing your head like this or closing your eyes like such, just tilt your head at a 45-degree angle relative to your position with the Lord. Simple enough. Now, if you are having difficulty finding the Lord, at no cost to you for a small donation, you can get the super duper top secret guide to spiritual success or financial riches. You can have both book. Available only on floppy disk. Okay? It's only available on floppy disk. And that's for security reasons. That's for security reasons because everybody's streaming everything. And if I give you your data, if I say send me your data over the internet, somebody's going to skim it right off the top, and then they got a copy. And so this is the most secure way I can give you these secrets is on floppy disk. All right, and it's for free at no cost to you for a small donation. Dear Lord, please bless Brother George Bell. George Bell, a former Harlem Globetrotter. I know most people don't even know what he looks like, so I could hold a picture of Reese Goose Tatum and you'd go, wow, that's a tall dude. That's not what he looks like. That's not him. Because, see, I know to most of you, most Harlem Globetrotters look alike. You racist fucks. That's okay. George Bell was recognized by Guinness World Records. I'm sorry about bang. I didn't mean to keep banging. I'm not supposed to be banging because every time I bang, you hear the bang on the microphone. I'm going to try not to do that. I'm going to try to keep my hands from banging. Although I am the booty banging brother, this is a podium, not a booty. I need to be careful. I apologize. If you hear that banging in your ears, I'll try to stop it. Where was I? Bell was recognized by Guinness World Records as the tallest man in America at a towering 7 foot 8 inches. And he was 67 years old. Bell passed away at home in Durham, North Carolina. The cause and date of his death is not clear. So, having said that, he could have died last year and I'm just finding out about it. Or he may have died tomorrow and you're hearing about it before him. How does a 7 foot 8 inch man die without someone noticing? That's my question. I suppose if he were standing up when he became brain dead, people under 6 feet might not notice for a while because it takes a while for the brain death to seep down to the feet. The brain dies and it goes down to the eyeballs and the nose nose bone connected to the lip bone and the lip bone connected to the chin bone all the way down to the feet. It takes a while. So people may not know that he died. He could be brain dead, which is when you're legally dead, but they don't know that because they're short. But surely someone would have heard someone that tall fall over when he hit the ground. Someone would have heard it. It's not like he lived in the forest, okay? Bell was born in 1957 in Portsmouth and was declared the tallest man in America in 2007, but was dethroned by Igor Vovkovinsky. Yeah, that's right, Vovkovinsky, who edged Bell out by less than half an inch, or a tip, just a tip. Bell reclaimed the title when Volkovinsky mysteriously died in 2021. Volkovinsky's cause of death was from excessive foot trauma when someone tried to remove 3/4 of an inch from his feet. He bled out, but he was no longer the tallest man in the world at the time either. So in America. Yes, we do have one suspect. Bell played basketball at Morris Brown College and Biola University before a stint with the Harlem Globetrotters. I do not know how long a stint is. I know it can't be real long because my mother had a stint, and if it was too long, it wouldn't have fit in, and if it was too small, it would have been too short to be a stint. It would have been a okay. So there has to be like a stint range, and that is how long he was with the Harlem Globetrotters. A stint. Okay. I know at this point I'm supposed to show you a picture, and I could show you Wilt Chamberlain, and again you wouldn't know the fucking difference because, oh well. Bell also appeared in American Horror Story, where he played a very tall man, and in AMC's Freak Show, where he played an even taller man. He had range. He could play 7'6", he could play 7'5". He could play 7'4". He had range. The man had range. And if you give him lifts, he could play 7'8". Like I said, great actor. Great actor. Had range. Rest in peace, George. You reached such great heights in your life. Can I get a sweet Georgia Brown? And that's a Harlem Globetrotters reference, in case you didn't know. As a matter of fact, I don't know how long he was with them. He may not have been with them through the duration of the song. He could have walked onto the field, onto the court while they started playing. Do 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 do. And by the time they got to the end of the song, his contract was over. I don't know. I don't know how long a stint is. You have to Google it. Google, how long is your stint? Dear Lord, please bless Brother Bob Long, former Green Bay Packers wide receiver who was on the Packers teams that won the first 2 Super Bowls. Bob Long died Sunday at his home in Brookfield. Now, if I can give you a little Green Packers trivia and a little football trivia, if you remember, not too long ago, there was a game between the Chiefs and the Eagles. And the Chiefs were trying to win their 3rd Super Bowl in a row because nobody had won a 3rd Super Bowl in a row. Okay, now here's the kicker. Let's play semantics just for a second. What is the Super Bowl? It is the championship game of football, right? It is the NFL's championship game. That's what it is. Before the merger, okay, like I said, Green Bay Packers won 2 Super Bowls or NFL championships after the merger. Before the merger, they had won 3 NFL championships in a row, okay, giving them 5 NFL championships in a row. But because they didn't call those other 3 Super Bowls and just NFL championship games, they don't get the credit for winning 5 Super Bowls in a row, just 2. I'm just saying, if you're a Packers fan, that gives you something to bitch about other than being a Packers fan. Okay? So I wish I had something for the Jet fans to give them some kind of something to bitch about other than the Jets. Okay. So Bob Long died last Sunday at his home in Brookfield. He was 83 years old. Cause of death has not yet been made clear. So far, they have ruled out SIDS. That's it. Everything else is up for grabs. Long was raised in Pittsburgh, attended Wichita State University, where he led 3 years in basketball. When his eligibility ran out, he switched to football for another letter. So he had 4 letters. You had to figure out what they were, because it doesn't say in the story what the letters were. Okay, I have no idea how that works. You know, his performance was good enough to get him drafted by 2 professional teams, the Packers in the NFL and the Chargers in the AFL. For those of you who do not know what the AFL is, and you're thinking, I didn't know the AFL-CIO had a team. It must have been before they merged with the CIO, just like before the AFL merged with the NFL. And you're going like, I don't understand. And that's okay. I'm not here to explain. I'm here to read my notes that I got here. They don't make sense. He signed with the Packers for $5,000 a season, or what today's NFL players would find in their sofa cushions. Even if they never sat in it, they'd find that much in their sofa cushions. Now, Bob Long remained in Wisconsin after his NFL career, where he was a Pizza Hut franchisee. He bought the first Pizza Hut to Sheboygan in the summer of '69. That's right, back in the summer of '69. And then the first case of crust-induced diabetes arrived in Sheboygan in 1970. He developed more than 60 franchises and at one time operated 24 stores. He also was involved in many charities, including Special Olympics, or as the Trump administration calls them, DEI sports. Is there like Madden has pro football, they have sports things. Do they have Special Olympics video games, where you could be like a Special Olympic athlete and you're participating in the Olympics? I think that'd be interesting. Because you could learn about people's disabilities without having those disabilities yourself. You could be like a one-legged pole vaulter or no-legged pole vaulter. You could be a blind football player. I don't know how Special Olympics work. I've never seen the sports. But if it was a video game, I bet you I would have seen it. And they could take the proceeds and give it to the Special Olympics and not worry about federal funding from people like Trump, who's just going to cut the shit off anyway. So, Sony, if you're listening, develop Special Olympic sports. And give me a little shout out when you do. Just a little credit or a little cash. Because I do it myself, but I don't know how. I'm still writing a book and developing games from 1980. Okay. So this is just something I had a little thought about. He was also involved in Task Force Against Family Violence and Alzheimer's research. But you don't know Bob Long for his Alzheimer's research work because, well, he won't be remembered for that, especially by the people with Alzheimer's. Now, when I wrote this with people with Alzheimer's, I wrote Alzheimer's, and it corrected me, and it said Alzheimer, no S. It's people with Alzheimer. It's Alzheimer. I did not know that. Now I listen to everybody else talking. I think everybody says so-and-so has Alzheimer's. So I don't know who's right. Everybody else who's maybe wrong, because people have been wrong en masse before. Look at the election. Or is my spell check wrong? Which could be wrong. No. I'm just asking. Alzheimer's. So rest in peace, Bob. May you find peace in that great Pizza Hut hike in the sky. Can I get an intentional grounding? Dear Lord, please bless brother Lenny Schultz. That's right. Lenny Schultz was a high-energy comedian known for his wild stage antics, unconventional props, like a dildo, I guess. I think that's an unconventional prop, and physical humor. Has died at the age of 91. Okay, now I'm going to read the rest of this thing, and if you're a comedian, this is going to blow your fucking mind at one point. And I know when it's going to blow your mind or piss you off, but I'm not telling you. I'll let you tell me. Okay. His son Mark Schultz confirmed that he passed away. Not Mark. Mark didn't pass away. His father Lenny passed away. He confirmed that he passed away on Sunday. That would be last Sunday, not today. Of natural causes at his home in Delray Beach, Florida, which is what you'd expect his lone heir to say. I mean, he's the only heir left, and he finds the body. He's the only one in the will. And it's like, oh, natural causes, nothing to see here. Yeah, okay. Schultz made a name for himself with an unpredictable performance style that involved food. Sound familiar? Props. Sound familiar? And absurdist routines. Often leaving audiences in hysterics. Often. That's a funny thing there. Often leaving, okay. Well, I'd settle for often. I'd settle for any hysterics. Okay, never mind. His influence could be seen in later comedians such as, wait for it, Robin Williams, Gallagher 1 and 2, Carrot Top, David Letterman, and Sam Kinison. That's right. All of them apparently have been inspired by Lenny Schultz. Fans would regularly chant out, "Go crazy, Lenny! Go crazy, Lenny!" during his shows, a phrase that has encapsulated his comedic philosophy. Now, I'm not going to read this entire paragraph. I'm just going to sum it up, okay? He used to be a baseball player in college. He got drafted by the Yankees, suffered an injury in his shoulder, and had to give up baseball. So he went to college, NYU, got a master's degree in education, and got his bachelor's at NYU, got his master's at Hunter College, and then he served in the Army. And when he got out of the Army, he became a gym teacher. Okay, that's in a nutshell. And he would perform comedy at night and teach in the daytime, teach gym in the daytime. I guess he only had that one student. He just taught gym. The other students, he didn't teach. Now, according to Wikipedia, this is the part where I told you you might get angry if you're a comedian. Okay, I don't know if this is true. This is according to Wikipedia. All right. Now, according to Wikipedia, 4 months after his first comedy open mic, he was appearing on TV on the Merv Griffin show. That's right. 4 months.
Oh my fucking God.
Yes, exactly. That's what I said. Okay. And not only that, okay, 4 months. And not only that, he performed comedy up until, according to Wikipedia, up until 2025. He died this year at 91. Yeah. So not only was the motherfucker getting TV shows or on television 4 months into his comedy career, but he performed up until the day he died. Okay, guys, how does that make you comedians feel? All right. Now, here's the kicker. In his first year, can I say that again? In his first year, according to Wikipedia, in his first year of being a comedian, he was on Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, and Johnny Carson within 1 year. 1 year. Okay. And back then they only had 3 networks. And those 3 guys, I think, were different networks. They were on like different networks. And in 1 year, he was like on all 3. Okay. Nowadays, we have 1 network per comedian. If you're a comedian, you have your own. There's a network out there. I'm just saying, chance and odds are with all the streaming. You're a comedian. There's like a network. And how many of you have actually been on television? That's right. Even with a network that could be dedicated to you, you have not been on television. I say, what the fuck? What the fuckity fuck? That's right. Rest in peace, Lenny. Really. Doing comedy at age 91, give it a fucking rest. That's right. Can I get a joke to go? This one's for our music fans. Dear Lord, please bless brother Jesse Young. Folk rock singer Jesse Colin Young of the Youngbloods died from a heart attack. He was 78. According to the Aiken, not ACHEN, like Aiken, like hurting, but AIKEN. See, I know that you can't see what I'm seeing, and I'm just trying to explain to you. Aiken County, and it's not hurting county or painful county. It's AIKEN. Okay. According to the Aiken County Coroner's Office in South Carolina, the Youngbloods singer died from cardiac complications of atherosclerotic and hypertensive cardiovascular disease. Yeah. I almost died just having those words in my mouth. I can't imagine having them in my chest. I'd be a goner. Just saying it almost killed me. Young had been a solo artist with 2 albums released before he joined forces with Jerry Corbett, Lowell, Banana, Levenger. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to make this sexual, but if you're a man and your nickname is Banana, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. See, it doesn't say how he got that name. And the drummer, Joe Bauer, to form Youngbloods. Youngbloods released a cover of Chet Power's Get Together in 1967, which peaked at number 5 in the Billboard Hot 100 2 years later. Now, most people know the Youngbloods for Get Together. However, they had other hits. So I'm told. Rest in peace, Jesse. May your music come out of the darkness, and into the sunlight. Can I get together? See, now I just threw the only 3 song titles you may know about them in that one sentence, 1.5 sentences. I don't feel like doing another dead football player, but I'm going to say it anyway because I don't want people to think I'm being ignorant. But dear Lord, please bless Brother Paul Flatley, former NFL wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings. He died at age 84 on Saturday. I think it was last Saturday because I wrote this on Friday and I knew this already. So, yeah, it must have been last Saturday. An obituary states that Flatley died with his family by his side and sepsis in his side. So, there's that. And there's a bunch of statistics in here. I mean, statistics that really, really are, here's the deal. He had, in his NFL career, he had 4,905 yards and 24 touchdowns over his NFL career. And you're thinking, that's nothing. People do that in one game now. And that's partially true. But you have to remember that back then, and again, this is like in the 60s, he was only making like $5,000 a year. Okay, that's about it. Maybe 10,000 if you're a superstar quarterback, but that's it. And back then, passing was not prevalent. Most football was a running game. Passing was legal, but not many people did it. Lombardi was like the first one to like weaponize passing. And the other thing that you need to know about back then, before you talk about how pitiful his record is, back then, if a defender hit an offender, if there was no crime scene tape around the body, there was no foul. So they got fucked up, So there you have it. If you apply those rules today and grade it on a curve, he probably has 100,000 yards and 3 million touchdowns. I'm just saying, if you grade it on a curve. This is like back in 1965. He retired, I think, in 1970, and he became the University of Minnesota's football team's colored commentator. No, that can't be right because he was white. He couldn't be a colored commentator. Well, white is a color, and it was the 70s. So there's that. Rest in peace, Paul. I'm sure that you were literally paid like a penny a yard. But that sounds about right. Now I have these 2 late additions. Technically, since they're departed, there really aren't additions. They're more like 2 subtractions because we have 2 more or less people on the planet, and I'm just finding out about it. So there's not a full thing here, okay? But please bless, dear Lord, please bless Brother George Foreman, the inventor of the Foreman Grill. That's much more. There's not much more I can say about it. He was a boxer. Matter of fact, he was one of the big 3. At one point, there was him, Joe Frazier, and George Foreman. Those were the big 3 in boxing. They were like the standard of boxing. And Foreman had his record was 76-5. 76-5. He had 68 knockouts. Not counting the times that he was knocked out. I don't even know when they count knockouts, I don't know if they count the times you were knocked out as well as the times that you knocked out other people. But there were 68 knockouts here that they're talking about. He died Friday in a Houston hospital. Now, he had 12 kids, and unless I'm mistaken, they were all named George. Now, he was, like I said, a boxer, legacy. You got to, all week, there's probably going to be tributes to him on ESPN and stuff like that. So you can learn a lot more about him from them than you're ever going to learn from me. All right. But rest in peace, George. What can I tell you? Your record is now 76-6, because nobody beats death. Can I get a rematch? And dear Lord, please bless Kitty Dukakis. Kitty Dukakis was the former First Lady of Massachusetts and the wife of Michael Dukakis, who was a presidential nominee in 1988. She died at 88. Coincidence? He ran for president in 88 and lost. She turned to 88 and lost. I have 88 keys on my piano, and I feel lost every time I touch it. Coincidence? I don't think so. Rest in peace, Kitty. It says that she died Friday night of dementia complications. Now, I don't know what dementia complications are, but I'm seeing how the government is running. And if dementia can cause death, we're in trouble because it looks like we're heading that way. So rest in peace, Kitty. And can I get a hello, Kitty? Amen. And finally, please bless the entire behind-the-scenes staff at Mind Dog TV. They are truly doing your work, helping to spread your word throughout the wordosphere. They could be anywhere today. As a matter of fact, they might be anywhere because they didn't have to do anything while they could have taken a nap. They could be sleeping. They could have gone out to the store and come back and say, I'll be back around 9:32. That's about when he should be finishing up the first part. That's right. They could be anywhere today, but they're here. All right. And that ought to count for something, Lord. Mind Dog TV, your place to go to get all of your Mind Dog TV stuff. And while supplies last, get your super secret, top secret floppy disk with the secrets of universal success, spiritual or financial success. Get your floppy disk now. So, minddogtv.com, the only place to go to get that. I don't know if there's any place else on the planet you can go to get the top secrets of universe on floppy disk. Lord have mercy. There we go. Now, where it is. Here it is. Let's have a little bump. Let's have a little bump for the Lord. That's good. You're probably saying, Reverend, why are you so distracted? It's because my phone shut off, and I have no idea why. I couldn't read comments, but like right now, it says 4-letter word. All right, got it. Yep. But I'm sure he wrote that a while ago, but my phone shut off, and I wasn't paying attention. Now, let us continue. In the name of George Carlin, Robin Williams, and Richard Pryor, can I get a fuck? Yeah. Fuck yeah! Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Before we go on with our sermon today, which is called Wreck It and Rob It, I want to let people know that I am on the Mind Dog TV network, and we are affiliated with Coffee with the Dog. And if you, my children, and I use that loosely, you, my children, want to be on Coffee with the Dog, Sister Curly Hair So Bright is going to tell you how to be on Coffee with the Dog.
Comedians, musicians, songwriters, filmmakers, authors, and podcasters. Coffee with the Dog is booking for the spring and summer seasons now. Get free publicity and hone your interview skill in a fun and safe setting. Coffee with the Dog is a live radio, live stream podcast based in New York, that airs daily Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 11 o'clock in syndication on iHeartRadio, as well as video streaming platforms like YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and many other platforms. Guests usually come on remotely via StreamYard, like Zoom but easier, although occasionally we do in-studio interviews. The morning show focuses mainly on comedians and musicians, and they have interviewed many top names and classic celebrities such as Robert Klein, Mike Binder, Eddie Brill, Doug Stanhope, Steve Byrne, Paul Provenza, Jeff Altman, and many, many others. For booking, go to minddogtv.com/booking.
Yeah. Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister. Golden hair so bright. Curly hair so bright. Sister, curly hair so bright. Thank you. Don't want to get into a copyright dispute. Sister, curly hair so bright. Thank you. Wonderful lady. Wonderful lady. Now, our sermon today is called Wreck It and Rob It. Now, I know initially I wrote down it was going to be unnatural order. And the truth of the matter is that when I have to set up these things in the computer, when I create a live stream, it asks for a title or something. And I didn't have a title. So I looked down and there's a comic book right next to my desk. And the comic book is called Unnatural Order. And I said, that sounds good. So that became the title. It was just a working title. I had no idea what I was going to do with it. It was like, I hadn't started writing this thing yet. I don't write this until like yesterday. All right. Last night. So, and it sounds like it, doesn't it? Except for the obituaries. The obituaries I write like on Thursday. Okay. Because, and here's the thing, when I do the Church of Last Resort, and the problem is, even though I'm mocking things, I try to be accurate with my mockizations, okay, or my macarenas. I try to be accurate. I don't just go around willy-nilly mocking stuff, okay? I try to be informative and somewhat accurate. And so when I do this thing that I do, if somebody dies on Monday, okay, chances are when I write this on Thursday, they're still going to be dead. And Friday or Saturday, or whenever you watch this, like today is Sunday, they may have died last Monday. I wrote this on Thursday, and those obituaries that I did, I wrote them all on Thursday, except for the two that were late additions. I didn't even have time to write anything. They died, and I just wanted to honor them today. Okay, didn't write anything. But by the time I write something for them, George Foreman and Kitty Dukakis, let's say next Thursday, chances are they'll still be dead. All right, so none of that's going to change. They'll still be dead. But then I talk about the things that are happening in our government. Okay, and this is the tricky part. See, when I do things, and I'm talking about the Trump-Musk administration, those same rules of stability do not apply. Oh, they seldom apply. And that's because most of what they're doing is either one, so outrageous and so despicable. You know, Trump will sign an executive order saying X, Y, Z. And that's amazing. They even knows those three letters of the alphabet, because this is not known for finishing stuff. Okay. But let's say he wrote an executive order establishing X, Y, and Z. And people start complaining and bitching, and they're out in the streets by the thousands and the millions and the hundreds of thousands in that order, protesting. You know, because they start off with thousands and it goes to millions, and people, it starts to rain or it gets colder, got to go to lunch, and switch down to 100,000. And then it turns nighttime, and then they shrink down to zero. Then the next day they're back up to thousands. And the point is, those numbers vary, but they're out there protesting. And when that reaches a certain level, Trump will go, oh, we didn't mean that. There's going to be a carve out. So yes, there's your protesting. So yes, I know I just said there's going to be a tariff on Canada of 25%, but because of, well, I will use XYZ, because of A, B, and C, we're not going to do that tariff. And that could happen in like a 48-hour period. And so by the time it hits the news that he signed the tariff or initiated a tariff, it'd be over with. And then you sound like an ass because it happened so fast. I don't like sounding like an ass. Sometimes he signs these things or he does these things and they're just outright illegal. All right. And so it goes to court. Like people were fired, probation, people in probation, employment probation were fired from, and thousands of people were fired from all kinds of agencies. And judges say, they got to go back to work. And by the time you cover one thing and react to it, it's being reversed, or at least it's in the process of being disputed. So it's hard to cover that kind of thing. And sometimes they do shit, not because they expect anything to come from it, but it's just a PR stunt. Okay, and by PR stunt, I'm not saying Puerto Rican. I mean a PR stunt as in public relations. Although a PR stunt in this administration could be Puerto Rican, you can never be too sure. Okay, I'm just going to give you an example. It was reported on Wednesday that Musk was to be briefed at the Pentagon about our war plans should we have a war with China. Musk was going to be briefed on it. And once Trump found out that the media knew about it on Thursday, he canceled the briefing, not the meeting. The meeting still went on, but the briefing was not briefed on China's war plans. And probably because they said, wait a minute, how'd they find out about it? We got a leak. Let's not do this until we find out who our leaker is or something like that. But anyway, he changed his mind. So the story goes out on Wednesday. He changes his mind. Friday comes around and that briefing doesn't happen. And so now we look like we're unreliable and we don't know what we're talking about. But we did. It's just that by the time you found out about it, he also found out about it and reversed course. So it makes it look kind of topsy-turvy and like we don't know what we're talking about, okay? So either Trump was lying again, okay? And he, because Trump said he didn't know about the briefing. He said, Trump goes, I didn't know. And when I found out, I stopped it. Okay, so either he's lying, okay, or, and that's bad, okay, or Musk can decide to be briefed on whatever matters he chooses to be, and Trump doesn't need to know about it. And that's worse, okay? Now, Trump and Musk are wreaking so much havoc that it is hard to accurately capture all of the minutia in real time without looking like a fucking fool. And I don't like looking like a fucking fool. Okay? So I'm going to kind of alter, not covering it, but I'm going to focus not so much on the minutia, if I can avoid it, but I'm going to focus on the through lines. Okay? I'm going to do my best to take what he's done and make sense out of the senseless. But it's all going to come back to two things. Okay? Wreck it and rob it. Okay? Everything he does is coming back to those two things, wrecking it and robbing it. And it is the government. It is your funds. That's what wrecking and robbing it is. All right. Now, for the through line, right now, the big picture is what is called Project 2025. And it's come and bringing it to fruition. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the 900 and some odd page document, I recommend you read it. It's still relevant. I have a copy on my computer because there's no fucking way I was printing up 900 and something pages because I only buy one pack of paper at a time. There's only 500 sheets in there. And when I run out, I buy another pack. I'd have to buy 2 packs just to get that. And 3 packs if I wanted to print that up and have the paper for what I usually print stuff up for. So I'm not a paper mogul. I can't be forwarding that kind of paper on paper. Can't be doing it. But Project 2025 officially is a roadmap for Trump to downsize the federal government and fundamentally change how it works, including the tax system, immigration enforcement, social welfare programs, and energy policy, especially those policies around climate change. That is what it is officially. If you go through the book, that is what they say they're trying to do. Actually, Project 2025 is a scheme and a scam to not just downsize the government, but to wreck it and rob it. Those are my words, wreck it and rob it. Just like Trump says nobody said groceries before he said groceries, or the groceries. Nobody said wreck it and rob it before I said wreck it and rob it. Okay? If you believe Trump about him saying the groceries and no one said the groceries, no one used those words before him, then you can believe me saying nobody said wreck it and rob it before I said wreck it and rob it. All right? And the way they're doing that is they want to make the government services so horrible that the public will accept the privatization of it, and then corporations can get their fat little fingers even fatter, providing the same services for many times the cost, or as I wrote here, a multitude of the cost. I don't know why I wrote it like that, and I don't know why spell check let me get away with it, but I did. Okay, take Social Security, for example, and you should take it now while there's still a Social Security. So take Social Security. The workforce at Social Security has been cut by 12%. Okay, not the services. The money is still there, right? The money is still there. They haven't stopped your money for the most part. I'm saying for the most part because some people have gotten their stuff cut off. And we're going to talk about some of that. For the most part, what they're doing is this slows down and hinders their ability to perform even the most basic of tasks, like taking phone calls and answering questions. So when things, if you have a problem, if you're, let's say, and you know, and they're closing offices as well, and they're demanding that some things you have to come in person to do, which means at some point, everybody's going to have to come to Washington, D.C., because that may be the only Social Security Administration building left open by the time they're done. So good luck. No phone calls. The thing is, if you have an issue, they're going to make it really, really hard and frustrating. And you're going to say, God damn it, man. All I have is a question. I just want to know how I filed this. This is worthless, useless. We should privatize Social Security. Well, that's what's going to happen. People will be so angry and say, what is going on here? And then the Republicans can say, things will work better if we privatized it. And people are going to say, let's privatize it. Let's do that. Because the Republicans tried privatizing Social Security in the past. They tried before. And every single fucking time it failed. And that's because the people don't want that. They know how bad it is. And Social Security was still working good enough that people says, look, this is still working pretty good for me. Don't fuck with it. And so Trump says, I'm going to fuck with it. And it's not going to work pretty good for you. And you're going to be so angry that you're going to want anything so that it starts working again. And now anything is one thing, privatization. Okay, wreck it and rob it. Once they privatize that, all that money that's in Social Security is now under control of private companies. And they're going to be taking their skimming. They're going to be skimming off the top. Because a private company can't do shit without skimming off the top. I know this for a fact. One of my closest friends, he's not my closest friend, but he's one of my closest friends, G.D. Fenderson, years ago, was given a contract by a company. I can say the name of the company because I don't think they're around anymore. I'm almost positive. Lucas Communications. And GD was hired to find what they said were shortages, in their funds. It was like, what's happening to the money? It's like we're taking all of this money in, but we're not showing the profit that we should have. And they had 3 partners. I'm not going to mention their names because I can't remember all their names because this is GD's story, not mine. But they were 3 partners, and they all agreed that whatever GD found, they would abide by. So there were 3 partners, and then 2 people who also were in control of funds, like one of the chief contractors and stuff. And GD, after a month, even before that, they said, okay, we're going to pay you extra amount of money, which they offered them. It was like they offered him more money than GD actually agreed to. But once he started working, they said, you're doing such a good job. We're going to do this. We're going to get you a car. And GD says, no, you hired me to find where the money's going. So let's stick with the original contract and let's find where the money's going. Because GD was convinced that he would do his job so well that it would wind up good for him. That's what he thought. He was a sucker. He found out where the thieving was coming from. Each of the partners was skimming a little, like 5 to 10%. They were all skimming. The 2 head contractors were skimming and double billing and double paying themselves. They were paying themselves twice for the same gig, because what they do is contractor A would would bill for a job, and then he would subcontract it to another contractor that was actually owned by his company. So he was getting paid twice for the same gig. GD exposed that, and it showed the guys, you're making plenty of money, but you're all stealing from the company. That's why and you're all thinking it's only a little bit, it's only a little bit, it's only a little bit. But because everybody's stealing, that little bit turned into a lot. That's why your company's failing. And they said, thank you, GD, you're fired. They fired him. And then the company went bankrupt because they wouldn't change their practices because they all liked stealing. And their company wound up in receivership. And that man, whatever his first name, that man, Mr. Lucas of Lucas Communications, had to sell his name. He had to sell his own fucking name because he was that greedy and that much of a thief that he could not even keep his own name. He had to sell his company and the rights to his name. That's the power of greed. And that's what's happening to our government. They want to privatize it. And in the process of privatizing, by the time everybody takes their part of it, there's going to be nothing left for the people who put the parts in it. We put the money in there. We should be entitled to the benefits of that money. It should be working for us. It should be fixing our roads. It should be taking care of our medical needs, our whatever it is, our clean air. That's what should be being done with it. But that's not what's happening. They want to privatize it. And they want to get their grubby fucking little fingers in there and skim off of it. That's why they're breaking everything. So it doesn't matter if it's Social Security. It doesn't matter if it's Department of Education. It doesn't matter the Department of Peace, Institute of Peace. It doesn't matter NOAA. It doesn't matter. They want to privatize it all because they want to get their hands on all of that money. And they're telling you the big lie that corporations can do it for cheaper and less and more efficiently. But if they could, they wouldn't have to cheat to make money. If they were that good at business, they would succeed without getting subsidies from us because they would be that good at business. But because we are who we are, most of us, we just say, they're rich. They must know something we don't. Yes, they know how to cheat. And they know how to sleep at night after they do it. Some of us know how to cheat, but we can't live with ourselves if we do. They can. They can live with themselves. Those CEOs, those presidents of the United States, that president of the United States. And this is the only time you'll ever hear me call him that. Because he is not a president in the sense of the word that he's a true leader. He is president because he sits in that office. And that's it. After that, I'm going to call him what he is. Convicted felon, unregistered sex offender, Donald Trump. That's who he is. He's getting his very little hand, making money. Elon Musk, billions of dollars of contracts. And yet he's going to find fraud and waste in the Pentagon when most of his money is coming from the fucking Pentagon contracts he has? No. See, that's what we're not getting. We're not getting the fact that we are being wrecked or being cheated. Wreck it and rob it. That's what they're doing. Wrecking it and robbing it. That's the through line. With all the little stories that he's doing, all the little things that he's doing, that's the through line. He's wrecking and robbing. They cut off in Alaska, I mentioned this, in Alaska, all of their U.S. forest workers, and they also operate the visitor centers. All of the U.S. forest workers who also operate the visitor centers have been fired except for one. One. You know, next month is when cruise seasons, all the Alaska cruises, they start next month. And there's one forest worker to handle all that. Now, either the state's going to have to pick it up, or they're going to offer to privatize it. You know, I guess Sarah Palin needed some work, because that last thing that she tried to do didn't work out so well for her. Here's a list of some of the things they're trying to do to us, or some of the federal agencies that have been impacted by what he's doing. Okay, Department of Education, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, Commerce Department, General Services Administration, Small Business Administration, Transportation Department, Treasury Department, Environmental Protection Agency, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Homeland Security, Housing and Urban Development, U.S. Agency for International Development, Agriculture Department, Labor Department, Interior Department, Veterans Affairs, Energy Department, Health and Human Services. All of those things are being impacted. They're damaging all of those things so that they can wreck them and then steal the money. That's all they want. And so how can they wreck their Treasury Department? Well, they need that's controls like the money. Or they get our data. They fuck with. Don't tell me. I know you're saying, say it, Reverend, say it. They want to develop a Bitcoin reserve. Okay, like there's a gas reserve and a corn reserve and a gold reserve, I guess. They want a Bitcoin reserve. Why? Why the fuck? It's so that they can skim. Brothers and sisters, like I said, I can't get accurately portray the minutia of every single thing he does. They're doing so much and so fast, and hardly anybody can focus on it. But you know what we can do? Focus on the end game. Focus on the end game. Focus on the end game. And their end game is they want to wreck it and rob it. And when you rob it, they rob us. Don't let them. Do not let them. Now, I was supposed to say something funny, and I don't know what I can say that's funny. But on a serious note, a very serious note, please remember to get your floppy disk with the secrets for spiritual or financial success. Get it today at no cost to you for a small donation. I want to thank you all who have subscribed to my fledgling YouTube channel. It is growing in leap and bound, or by leap and bound, and also the my Facebook channel, which is also growing by leap and bound. I also invite you to check out gigsalad.com and check out GD Fenderson. He's a good friend of mine. Doesn't make him funny. What makes him funny is whether or not you think he's funny. Okay, check it out. If you think he's funny, hire him. He could use the money, and his wife could use the time away from him. On behalf of the Church of Last Resort and the entire Roll family, my wife Amona, my kids Cinnamon and Jelly Jr., our cat Tootsie, who is doing well. Thank you. Thank you for the cards and letters. She had an yeast buildup in her ears, and her wax was like in this dark brown, almost like Coca-Cola syrup. And she took us like a month of putting eardrops in her ears to get rid of all that brown stuff. And now she has clear wax, which almost looks good enough to make a candle. So, and if it is, we're going to be selling church candles with our little cat's earwax and out of, again, minddogtv.com merchandise. But that's if we get enough wax. And then you can light them at vigils. And also, on behalf of our dog, Stop Dropping, who has stopped dropping, he's finally housebroken after 17 years. I wish you safe travels, and I hope you will join us next week at 9 a.m. Eastern Orthodox Time on Minddog TV and everywhere that our word is heard. In the name of George Carlin, Robin Williams, and Richard Pryor, can I get a fuck yeah, y'all? Fuck yeah!